Well, hello, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming out. This is an amazing place to have a meeting like we're having right now. This is probably some of the most historic acreage in the state of Texas. You know, this morning I spent a little time over at Morgan's Point. And Morgan's Point, of course, is famous for two things. One is that's where David G. Burnett, as he was fleeing from the incoming centralist Mexican army, got into a rowboat and put out into that bay you see behind us. And he was trying to get away so that he could keep within his government the spark of Texas alive. When the Mexican dragoons showed up, they were getting ready to pour lead into that boat, but his wife and child were there. Burnett stood up and shielded his family, inviting the Mexicans to shoot him, but spare his family. Juan Almonte, the Mexican commander, said, "There's a brave man," told his dragoons, "Stand down. We'll get him someday, but we won't get him today." That happened 1 mile up the road. And Morgan's Point was named for a family named Morgan. And one of their employees was a woman named Emily West. She was a free woman of color from New York who was helping run the household. The Mexicans took her with them back to their camps at San Jacinto. And she went down in history as the Yellow Rose of Texas. All this happened within a mile of where you're standing. Think of all the different vessels that have gone by here. My gosh, the little steamboat Yellowstone went by, carrying a wounded Sam Houston off to New Orleans. Would he live? Would he die? No one knew. You'd think getting shot in the ankle wouldn't be that bad, and it wouldn't be today. But getting shot in the ankle in 1836 could have been a death sentence. And the Yellowstone went chugging along the water out there, and Sam Houston ended up creating a nation. I choose that word very carefully because Texas in many ways is in fact a nation. We're a nation. This room is full of fellow citizens of this sort of idea of Texas. Then we see the tankers coming and going. Texas was made by oil and cotton that passed along that waterway. So all that to say this, Texas is kind of a big deal. And we are actually at a spot where we have a ringside seat to some of this great history that unfolded. So this house was begun in 1923. That's also the year that Schreiner University was founded. I don't believe in coincidence. I think that there's forces afoot that has brought all this together. One of the things that Schreiner University decided to do was to absolutely be intentionally Texan. You know, you think about what's going on in the state right now. We're adding about 1,000 people a day. We're heading towards adding 1 million people a year. You know, if we're going to have this unprecedented growth in Texas, we have to figure out how to manage it. To do that, we have to tell the Texas story, and we have to tell it every chance we get. Think about how culture is transmitted. I tell everybody I'm in the cultural sustainability business. Culture is passed on from one generation to the next. What resource do they have along this journey? Well, right now, they have a new resource, and that resource is the Texas Center at Schreiner University. And we are determined to engage in all the big conversations going on across this state. And all you have to do is pull a copy of Texas Monthly or the Houston Chronicle, and you can understand that those conversations are active and aggressive and ongoing. But what those conversations usually lack is an honest broker. And there needs to be somebody that just tells the story, the whole story, the true story, the good, the bad, the true Texas story. And that's what we're doing at the Texas Center. We literally needed a space this big to talk about all the things that the Texas Center is doing. We are working with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo School Art Committee. They're represented here tonight. We have a thing called the Western Art Academy. You'll learn about that in one room. We publish Texas stories in book form. We do videos. You'll see those downstairs. You'll see Ben shooting video now. This will probably show up in a highlight reel. We do Texas business. We do Texas everything. We're engaging in 3 areas. One is in the K through 16 space. You think about it, moms hand those kids off to educators. Somebody needs to serve as a support for those educators, especially when they're telling Texas stories. If I had my druthers, I would put a little bit of Texas in every grade, K through 16. Because Texas, after all, is the best expression of the American idea. All those folks that were putting together this country in 1776, they were Texans. They just hadn't met the place yet. So one of the things that is a reality in Texas is that we are shifting the demographic. So what we need to do is help them find their place in the story. And that's what we're doing at the Texas Center. And the third thing we're doing is that we are advising 2 big cultural institutions. I'm working with the Alamo. I've worked with the Bryan Museum. I've been working with the state of Texas. The governor appointed me to the 1836 Commission, for instance, which was an idea of building a succinct history of Texas that would be passed out to everybody that got a driver's license in this state. So already within 3 years of standing this project up, we have had an outsized impact on what's going on in this state. We have 13 years to the bicentennial, ladies and gentlemen. What do we want our kids to know in 2036? Well, if we sit back and hope it'll take care of itself, it won't. If you want an honest story of grit, determination, success, failure, admirable qualities, despicable qualities, if you want that honest story told, we're going to have to determine to do it. You know, that Battle of San Jacinto, that was done by people who were not getting paid to be there, but they believed in the cause. Y'all didn't get paid to be here, but you believe in the cause. Y'all are now standing in the footsteps of heroes. So what I'm telling you is I need reinforcements. I need folks to come over the hill and say, we'll throw in. It's time to search our hearts. You know, all those different incidents that I mentioned outside the back windows that happened on those waters and up the road, those were particular days and particular hours upon which the fate of Texas hinged. But you guys took the time, you answered the call, and you came, and I appreciate that. And that puts you in a long tradition of Texans who will.